So today's lesson is called Getting Ready. And what we're going to be doing is we're actually getting ready for Unit 2. And Unit 2 is based on a thing called trigonometry. And that's what we're going to be working on for most of this unit. Now, the concept of trigonometry deals with right-angled triangles. That's why we're going to eventually look at the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to listen to these basic concepts that we need to be able to do for this getting ready section. So recall, we studied how to do solutions for the letter x. So let's say I had x over 6 is equal to, let's say 8 over 24. You would go and cross product these things, and you would end up with 24x is equal to 6 times 8, 48. And then 48, 6 times 8 is 48, 24, and then we divide both sides by 24. Is that right, guys? X is 2. Check it. I'd need a confirmation, please.
Yes.
Okay, so here's our next problem. Suppose that we have another problem here where we have something like this. And I ask you to round it to 1 decimal place. So we have 113.5 over 100. So when you go and solve this, you go through the old math like we did before, and you end up with x is equal to, what would that be? 1.1, no, it would be 11.35 would be our x value. And if I asked you to round to 1 decimal place, what would that decimal be? You'd have x is equal to approximately, what would I have here? You'd get 11.4. Now, the reason why that is because we have to do certain things for rounding. For the next digit over, digit to the right of what we're looking for, we round up if the number is a 5, and we stay the same, if it's less than 5. So this one should be 5 or greater. Okay, so we need to be able to do rounding today. Some of the other things that we have to use for this new lesson, new concept for the next few days is this. Let's say I give you something like this. 12 squared. What is the actual long way of writing this? Any ideas? So we write 12 times 12. And we end up with 144. Now, alternatively, you can write on your calculator 12 on the calculator, and then you're going to hit on the calculator x squared. Okay? Some other calculators, when you hit x squared, you're going to see something like this. 12 with the caret sign. Okay? That is how we go and calculate this 144 that we get as our final answer. Okay? This type of problem. What do we call this? Let's say we have the square root of 27 and we need to round it to, let's go 3 decimal places. How would I do that on my calculator, guys? So literally on your calculator, you're going to hit the square root button and then type 27. On some calculators, on older calculators, sometimes you have to punch in the number and then hit the square root sign to get what you want. Okay? Now, let's calculate the square root of 27 right away, but I want you to have at least 4 decimal places when we do this at first. So when I ask for 3 decimal places, you got to give me 4 and then you round. So you just read it right off the calculator. So 5.1961, and it keeps going on forever, right? But we're only going to round to this digit, which I'm underlining here, right? The 6, because the number to the right is less than 5. We leave this to 5.196 is our final answer. Okay? And that is our final answer for our calculations, right? Now, your homework. No, we're not quite done yet. We got one more thing to do. Be able to make sure that we can do this kind of calculation. Okay? So here's what I want. Let's say I have 3 squared plus 1 squared. Show me the full solution. So you'd have 3 times 3, right? And then we have 1 times 1, which gives us 9 plus 1, which is 10. Okay? Now, I want to see, when you see problems like this on your homework today, show me the full steps. Simplify this part, then simplify that, then tell me what the answers is for both, and then give me the final answer. Now, the next type of calculation you need to be able to do is something like this. Let's say I have 12 squared minus 4 squared, right? So 12 squared is 12 times 12 minus 4 times 4, which is 144 minus 16, which gives us 128. Yes, 128. And these are the problems that we're going to practice on to start our afternoon. Okay? So the questions that I want you to do, you can do the minimal amount or you can do the full-fledged amount. These are pretty easy. The only ones that you have to really worry about are question number 8, where you have to show all your work. So you're doing, it's called Get Ready. And that Get Ready package is online, ready for you to go. And I believe it's page 44. And you're doing questions 2. Wait, let's make sure. No, you're doing questions number 1 to 8. Okay, those are the questions that you're doing. You can do enough of each to understand. So do maybe 2 for the first section, 2 for the third section, second section, 2 for the fourth section. There's always an example of how to do different problems. So use the time to practice this. Okay?